Hi, this is Professor Sanchez, and the goal of this video is to walk you through the Essay 2 assignment. So for this assignment, there are two readings. The first one is an article published in the New York Times, which is a pretty straightforward read. I think you won't have any trouble understanding it. What I would ask you to do is do a very deep reading of it and really try to connect the ideas to your own thoughts about suffering and happiness. The second article is a study. It's the results of a few studies, actually. The language is much more complex and scientific and difficult to read. The reason I'm giving you these together is that when you do research, especially when you're looking in the databases and you're trying to find studies and things like that, the writing will be difficult to unpack. So I wanted to work with that a little bit before we get to our research projects, that you can see what an article might look at and give you some tips for how to go through reading it. On to that in a second. So the goal of this essay is we're actually going to draw a conclusion about the relationship between happiness and suffering. So does suffering make you happier? Does suffering make you more unhappy? Does suffering lead to anxiety from trauma? Does suffering have no relationship at all to happiness? This is what you have to decide for yourself. So you're going to come up with an argument about the relationship between happiness and suffering. If there is a relationship, what is it? If there's not a relationship, then you're going to have to break down why there's not a relationship. Okay, so basically the other goals are to incorporate the readings into your ideas. So both of the articles will be a part of this essay, and to argue and support whatever conclusion you make with evidence from the articles, as well as your own observations and experiences around suffering and happiness. I have some tips here for ways to sort of think through your organization and think through what your answer is to the question and how you kind of connect to it. And then also I wanted to point out that the outline template here for Essay 2, this is really good for helping you think through your topic. So making sure that you understand the articles, thinking through what you're drawn to and how you feel about it. This outline is going to help you brainstorm and begin to organize your thoughts. It might not be the final organization structure for your paper, but it will help you to get started. Okay, and then as always, the rubrics down here at the bottom. I want to focus on this article though, so it's going to be a PDF file. Uh-oh. There we go. Just had to wait till it was downloaded. This is actually from EBSCOhost database from the Journal of Happiness Studies. There's a lot of writers, so we refer to the writer as McMahon et al. Now, when you read an article like this, it's very long, it's 26 pages. You do not have to read all of the article. So let me walk you through what you should read so that you can kind of get an idea about it. You should read the abstract. It's like the summary of the article and walks you through their results and what they're trying to say in this paper. You should read the introduction. So the introduction has several parts. This is all the introduction here. Scrolling down, scrolling down. So everything 1 point something is a part of the introduction. So the introduction stops here at 1.5. At that point, you can stop reading for a bit, and we're just going to scroll through all of this middle stuff. This is the studies, the results, the data, the methods. While this could be very important if you were writing a master's thesis or studying, something in greater depth, for our purposes, we just want to see like what they found and get the general information from it. Okay. The other thing that you want to read is the conclusion. So the conclusion is here, and that just sort of wraps up what they found. So sort of with the abstract. You can also check out this section on, what's it titled? this last section on like their findings and the implications of their findings. So it's basically, this is what we learned in the studies that we did, and this is the implication for everyone based on what we found. Okay, so hopefully that's good news to you that you don't have to read the whole thing. Going back to the tab, to the abstract, the language is very packed. So you have to take your time, you have to annotate, you have to look up words, and you have to really think it through. Sometimes it helps me to make a drawing to try to understand, you know, what they're trying to say in this particular paper for their thesis. And if that's helpful to you, go for it. Draw a diagram, in this one I draw people and people who have different belief systems and then how stress affects them. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or want to talk more about this article or this assignment, just let me know.